All right, let's get to the latest NBA rumors, more specifically surrounding Kawhi Leonard and the NBA draft. So for Kawhi, yes, he does indeed want a trade from the San Antonio Spurs onto somebody else. The first to report this, the San Antonio Express News, and then Yahoo Sports added that Leonard has, quote, grown uncomfortable with the Spurs, leading to his reported desire to play elsewhere. Now, Leonard favors a trade to Los Angeles, more specifically the Lakers, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind the Clippers either. The Clippers are reportedly interested in Kawhi Leonard, and the Clippers have a couple of good high draft picks in that first round, by the way, so maybe they package those for a potential Kawhi trade. Keep that in mind. Now, people close to Leonard reportedly actually want him to go to the New York Knicks, and I don't see that as a tempting spot for Kawhi. LA makes a lot of sense, especially the Lakers. They have the salary cap space to do it and can probably sign Kawhi after the 2019 season when he becomes a free agent. And then you have perhaps LeBron James joining the team and Paul George. So it's a tempting scenario if you are Kawhi Leonard. He's also an LA native too. The Celtics and 76ers have been rumored to make an offer or at least actively making calls for Kawhi Leonard as well. Keep an eye on the Kings and their number 2 overall selection in an effort to acquire Leonard. They are reportedly desperate for a star out there, and if they get Kawhi, he would certainly fit the bill. My only worry about that is, does Kawhi want to stay in Sacramento after his 1-year stint with the team? I don't think so, personally. I think he really wants to go to LA. Like, even if he goes to Cleveland, even if he goes to Sacramento, he's going to want to go to LA at some point. So keep that in mind. And Kawhi, of course, is a San Diego State product, and as I mentioned, from LA. So we'll see what happens. We'll get to the LA Lakers now, and the Lakers can indeed get Leonard, Paul George, and LeBron James on the roster. So here is the scenario. I'm going to break it down for you guys. The Lakers could deal Brandon Ingram for Kawhi straight up if the Spurs are willing to do that. Or it could be one of Kyle Kuzma or Lonzo Ball along with Brandon Ingram. They'd also have to include Luol Deng's contract as well because, well, that's not exactly something that the Lakers want. So with Deng's full salary, Julius Randle's cap hold, and a trade of Ingram straight up for Leonard, who waives his trade kicker, by the way, the Lakers would have up to $34 million in spending power. Obviously, not enough for LeBron and Paul George, so we have to go a little step further here. Trading Deng outright with multiple draft considerations without returning a player would push the Lakers' available cap space to $51.1 million. So if James chooses to join Leonard, right, in LA, the team would still have roughly $16.6 million to spend to round out the roster while retaining Julius Randle. Now, without Randle, okay, you with me here still? That number climbs to about $28.2 million. Nearly enough for that $30.3 million that Paul George would be eligible to receive in free agency. So if Paul George is willing to just take that little sliver of cut in terms of his paycheck, there is a very real scenario that Kawhi and LeBron and Paul George are playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, and that, folks, is a title-contending team. That is a warrior-killing team. That is a rocket-killing team. That is also a team that basically makes the East an afterthought, right? I mean, who's going to emerge out of the East? Who cares? Maybe the 76ers, probably the Boston Celtics. It ain't going to matter. It's all going to be about the West if this scenario happens. So one more time, this is what has to happen. Kawhi, Brandon Ingram, trade straight up. All right, then you trade Luol Deng and outright with multiple draft considerations. That would push the Lakers' available cap space to $51.1 million eventually. If James chooses to join Leonard in LA, that would equate to $16.6 million left. So then you essentially have to be without Julius Randle. That number eventually climbs to about $28.2 million, in which case, maybe Paul George takes a little bit of a pay cut and he joins Kawhi and LeBron. So that's the situation right now. Is it a real possibility? Sure. Do I think it's going to happen? maybe. I certainly think LeBron and Paul George are going to LA. Keep in mind that Kawhi could get there as well. All right, folks, you guys are watching the Cam Rogers Show presented by FanDuel. Shout out to the 19 members of the audience who signed up for FanDuel last week and joined my private U.S. Open contest. Shout out to the winner. You see him right there. Joe Govea. He dominated the field. He had Brooks Koepka in his lineup. Of course, Brooks winning the U.S. Open in back-to-back fashion. The first time we saw that since Curtis Strange back in 1988 and 1989. And a special shout out to Johnny on Twitter. Johnny beat me in the contest as well. He was talking smack. I said, no way, you're going to beat me. He took me down. Johnny, I'm doing another game this week. All right, so best 2 out of 3, my man. Sign up now at FanDuel.com/chatsports. Make a deposit, and you will instantly get $10 free. FanDuel.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports as well. And we thank FanDuel for coming along for the ride here this week. All right, let's continue along with the latest Kawhi rumors. And we've got the Kings perhaps to acquire him. So I mentioned this earlier in the LeBron James segment that the Kings are firmly in the running for trading the number 2 overall pick for Kawhi if it fits the bill. Now, Yahoo Sports' Chris Mannix reported the Kings are desperate for a star, and I personally feel that Kawhi Leonard would qualify as a star. Now, Kings leadership is actually looking for a quick turnaround with this franchise. I assume I'm going to get a lot of laughing comments in the section on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live because the Kings want a quick turnaround. Let's be honest, folks. It's going to take a little more time than a quick turnaround. So the real question is, does Kawhi really want to go to Sacramento? And it may not be up to him if the Kings come to the Spurs and give them an offer they can't refuse. But here's the situation. Kawhi will just play the 1 year with the Kings and then be done with it and go into free agency and go sign with the Lakers, go sign with somebody else. So the Kings should really think about this decision here. They have to do their homework and make sure that Kawhi Leonard really wants to play on that team. And we know he wants to play on the likes of the Lakers or the Clippers, not the Spurs, obviously. And so how highly does Kawhi hold the Kings in his own regard? That's how I wonder, and that's something you guys should wonder as we enter draft night. So keep that in mind. All right, how about the Suns? Sounds like they won't trade their number 1 overall pick for Kawhi. So the Ringer's Kevin O'Connor wrote that some in the league believe that Phoenix general manager Ryan McDonough would explore the idea of trading the top pick in the draft. However, the Arizona Republic shot down that idea recently. The report noted that the Suns' most likely involvement in a Leonard trade would be actually to act as a facilitator in a 3-team deal. So the Suns getting Kawhi Leonard is not the scenario here. Now, I personally am not surprised about this recent reporting because the Suns-Kawhi pairing doesn't really add up for me. The team has missed the playoffs in 8 consecutive seasons and has not won more than 24 games since 2014 to 2015. It clearly needs to add talent, and we're talking long-term talent, not just a stopgap option here where Kawhi Leonard is on the team for a year and he says, see ya, Phoenix, I'm going to LA. Like, that's just not a smart investment if you're the Phoenix Suns and GM Ryan McDonough, so he's got to keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, even if he does go to Phoenix and plays for a year, do you really think he's going to stay? I mean, it's the same argument with the Sacramento Kings here. So, as we approach draft night, which, by the way, should be very chaotic, I think a lot of teams are going to be active in terms of trades. Kawhi Leonard could be at the center of all the rumors, and he already is, but he could even more so by the time June 21st comes around. So we shall see. Where do you think Kawhi will play next season? Be sure to hit me up on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. And next up on the list in non-Kawhi Leonard rumors are the Nuggets shopping Kenneth Faried. So the Nuggets have an interesting young core led by Nikola Jokic there and Jamal Murray as well. And right now they have forward Kenneth Faried on an expensive contract, expiring, might I add. And they may want to clear him out to make some cap space to target another contributor on that team. Denver is reportedly aggressively shopping Kenneth Faried as we stand right now, and they may be including that number 14 overall draft pick as some sort of package here. Faried is owed $13.8 million in the final year of his contract for 2018 to 2019, and reportedly the Atlanta Hawks would be willing to take that salary into their cap space here in exchange for an asset from the Nuggets. And Faried simply last year just could not protect the rim very well for the Nuggets. He wasn't very good. He played in just 32 games last season, averaging 5.9 points and 4.8 rebounds. So with an expiring contract and the Nuggets with the number 14 overall selection, it's no surprise that they are in the process of trying to shop this guy and make a little package deal there. So we'll see if that actually goes down. Next up, Aaron Gordon. Is he getting a max deal? Easily the most talented player on that Magic roster, and he's entering restricted free agency. Newly hired Magic head coach Steve Clifford recently visited Aaron Gordon in San Jose as part of an effort here to kind of get to know his players, which makes sense, and I'm sure this actually came up in discussion. Now, for Gordon, injuries limited him to 58 games this past season, but he actually posted the best totals of his career. 17.6 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game for the Orlando Magic, and as such, he wants to get paid because of the momentum that he is carrying from last season based on those stats. So we'll see what happens there. All right, next up here, Grizzlies and Michael Porter Jr. These two have been firmly rumored together. According to USA Today, the Memphis Grizzlies are seriously considering selecting Porter with the number 4 overall pick here in the 2018 NBA draft. And Porter just played 3 games at Missouri for a total of 53 minutes here. He was set to work out last Friday in front of NBA teams, but that was canceled because of a back injury. Now, there could be a little bit of a mini slide here for MPJ because of these back issues and all the such, but he's not going past number 7 because the Chicago Bulls will select him there if he is available. That I can tell you. So, mini slide, sure, because a lot of people thought, well, maybe MPJ could go in the top 3 of the NBA draft. I don't think that's going to be the case now because of this back issue. So with that, who will be selected as the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft? I don't think it'll be Michael Porter Jr., but if you think so, be sure to let me know in comments because he's not an option here. We got DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley III, Luka Doncic, and Jaren Jackson Jr. So give me a like, laughing face, heart, and wow face, respectively. All right, let's take a look at Trevor Ariza here. He's reportedly seeking $50 to $60 million. So spent the last 4 seasons with the Rockets, set to be a free agent this summer, 32-year-old forward. Looking for a big-time contract over the next 4 to 5 years, according to Rockets Wire. Now, Ariza is a solid 2-way wing. He averaged 11.7 points and 4.4 rebounds per game last season. Not a lot of people talked about him in terms of the national media because, of course, James Harden, Chris Paul, they steal those headlines. He did sign a 4-year, $32 million contract with Houston back in July of 2014. Ariza has spent 14 years in the NBA and won a championship with the Lakers back in the 2008 to 2009 campaign. So Trevor Ariza looking to get paid big time. We shall see if that indeed happens. All right, folks, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the Cam Rogers Show today. It's an awesome week to sign up and play on FanDuel, folks. World Cup and Major League Baseball contest for new players only. Play for real cash while you learn the ropes and get $10 free when you make your first deposit. Use the website fanduel.com/chatsports. We don't haze rookies. Get it done today and you will receive that $10 bonus. We thank you, FanDuel, for sponsoring the show here today. All right, more NBA rumors here. How about LiAngelo working out for the Warriors? Will the Warriors draft him? So he worked out for them back on Friday. Lonzo guarantees that LiAngelo will get drafted. Ball is actually feeling pretty confident in himself. LiAngelo, more specifically, quote, "Going overseas helped me more, in my opinion. In college, I didn't get the playing time I thought I'd get, so I was able to develop better overseas." Now, the general consensus is LiAngelo is going to go undrafted. And I think that's going to be the situation here. I don't think he's getting drafted. If he does, it'd be a great story, be great for the headlines, great for the talking heads like yours truly here on this very program. But I don't think it's going to go down. So will LiAngelo Ball get drafted? I want to hear from you. Give me a heart for yes, a like for a no way, and be sure to explain upon yourselves as well in the comments section.